Our messages are threefold. First of all, if you look at the progress that has been made on the underlying causes of our previous economic problems, these were the current account deficits as well as the fiscal deficits. There's been tremendous progress on both of these. On the current account, we were running a monthly deficit of about $2 billion per month, historically unprecedented deficit. And that had actually shrunk to about zero in the months before COVID. So that is fact number one. Fact number two, Nancy, is we had been running large primary deficits. And in the first 9 months of the fiscal year, we actually had a primary surplus. So our first message is that our fundamentals were actually improving. And it's no surprise that the stock market, financial markets were cheering. It's no surprise that the IMF was dispersing and issuing statements of very satisfactory progress under the program. Our second key message is that we are determined to do as much as we can to protect life and to minimize the destruction of economic value. Some of the measures that the central bank has done have been focused on injecting liquidity into the market. And one of these has been the extension of principal on borrowers' loan obligations by 1 year. And that, Nancy, has injected about 3% of GDP worth of underlying loans have had their principals extended. This is about $1.5 billion worth of extension of principal that has happened. So our key goal right now is to provide liquidity, at the same time work with banks, because our focus is to not let liquidity problems turn into solvency problems. And banks are well placed to make that judgment, which clients are facing purely a liquidity problem versus those which may have a solvency problem.
Okay, Governor, that makes sense. And based on what you touched on with the IMF assistance as well, given the $1.4 billion loan you've received, we're also understand that you're looking to a debt deferral from the IMF as well. Can you give us an update on the progress there and just how significant that could be?
Let me put that in a broader context. The G20, when they met, came up with a welcome proposal to essentially provide more financing to low-income countries and some emerging markets. Efforts at this stage by the international community to provide more financing, whether it's in the form of more concessional lending or other means, are welcome. And as you know from the G20, now they are working out the modalities of how such additional financing is to be provided, and we are awaiting such information so that we can decide how to take it forward. What is key is that we have demonstrated that we are continuing to keep a close partnership with the IMF as well as other international financial institutions. And the IMF, as you know, has recently disbursed $1.4 billion under its RFI facility.